Welcome to You Know My Voice, a podcast which talks to the biggest vocalists, writers on your favourite dance records. And this week, I have an incredible writer and vocalist and artist who has records amass well over 1 billion streams. Records for Sigala, Eyre, Ella Henderson, Regard, Blonde. The list goes on. In the studio this week, we have Bryn Christopher.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to You Know My Voice. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's such an honour. I was so excited when you were up for coming in for this podcast because your voice is dance music history, really.
Yes, maybe in the future.
In the future, it is already. I mean, the records that you've done, you've broken careers. You've made, Sigala's first record. Like, this is huge.
Yeah, yes. It's nice to be in the dance world.
It's nice to be. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I mean, before we get into the big hits, I want to talk about Baby Bryn.
Yes.
And how you ended up here and gracing the ears of so many people.
I wanted, when I was younger, I clearly had that being on stage thing. I wanted to be a performer. I wanted attention.
Yes.
Probably because I was the third youngest child and you want more attention, and I'd sing all the time. I'd sing at my Christmas dinners for my whole family. My brother would probably be annoyed. I'd just be like, it's my moment, and I'd sing a song or whatever. And it wasn't really a thing that I thought of. I just enjoyed singing.
Yeah.
And then my mum, when I was younger, was trying to get me into various different things that I was interested in. I'd watch something like Wayne Sleep, a tap dancer, and be like, I want to be a tap dancer. So I'd join tap dancing, and then I'd do it for a week and be like, I really don't want to be a tap dancer.
No, it's quite noisy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really difficult. It's difficult. I have not got the rhythm for that.
No.
And we found this youth theatre called Raw Talent in Birmingham when I was about 12, and I joined that, and that was my first kind of performance, really being oh, actually I want to be a performer, and I wanted to be an actor, really, mainly because that's what I thought was a better job and more of a thing.
Yeah.
And while I was at this youth theatre, sometimes we'd do songs and I would obviously be singing them, and it was meant to be a choral, but I was just so loud that I thought
you were always a soloist.
I was always meant to be a solo artist. And they'd say project, and I would project, and nobody else would be projecting. So you could just hear me over everybody else, and they'd always give me the highest notes, so you could really, really hear me. And people were like, "You're really good at singing."
Yeah. And
I was like, "Oh, I really enjoy singing as well." And
what were you listening to growing up that you were emulating?
Well, I don't really I loved pop music a lot. I loved Britney Spears. I loved Backstreet Boys, NSYNC. I like Pink. I clearly was obsessed with Max Martin.
Yes.
So, because I noticed
that era, though, the songs,
so good.
I mean, these pop records were just incredible.
They were R&B-esque,
yes.
Loads of vocals, loads of harmonies,
the
big
harmonies,
choruses.
Yes, it was a seminal time.
Yeah. And I kind of. That was when I was around that time discovering what writers were, and that was in the back of my head, but I didn't really think that. I was just I'm a singer. Yeah. I'm just going to sing songs, and there are writers. And then I decided at 13 that that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a singer, and I was like, that's the mission, to be a pop star, a singer. I want my songs on the radio. I want my songs on Box and MTV back then, and so that was my aim to go for, and I did. Kind of just you do GCSE music,
yes,
and that was my first as well, writing songs, because you're just writing songs, and they'd be really silly. Some of the songs I wrote, I'm like, oh God, I can't. I would love to hear them. Someone has them, but I don't know. I haven't got them, but they were potentially terrible. But
who knows? There might be some gold in there.
Yeah. I was obsessed with Destiny's Child, so they were really weird, weird songs.
Can you pay my bills?
Yeah. I say this to lots of songwriters that I work with and producers and art. Like I say, when we're in the studio, we forget that that's what we're doing. We wanted when we were younger.
Yeah.
We wanted to be in the studio.
Yes,
when
true.
I was at school, I remember I'd like go to lunch, I'd go and get my food, eat my food as fast as possible, and then I'd go straight to the music rooms.
Right.
And sit and write, and like my friends would be there, like mainly because that was the place that the bullies wouldn't go.
Oh, yes.
And like, because it was like the history and music section, so like they just wouldn't go in there. And I genuinely loved getting on the piano and writing. I can't play the piano, but like I liked to play the piano.
Right. That's what I was going to ask. Could you play a bit?
No, I can't. But I say to people, like, I would do that in my personal time for free. You know, you work all day and then my free time, I was going to the studio. Yeah. And that's what we do every day. We don't get paid to go and write songs.
Yes.
So we have to love it.
Yes.
Like, if you don't love it, what are you doing it for?
Yeah, exactly.
And we don't get paid. So, and I, like, the very first time I ever went to a proper studio, I felt like I'd made it. Oh, and it was like...
How old were you?
I was maybe 17 or 18.
And was this up in Birmingham or down in London? Down in London.
I used to audition for like pop groups, because how do you get into the music industry if you're not from like a family in it, or if you're not in London and you know things? Yeah. All I could do was audition for pop groups or anything from the Stage magazine, which was a thing years ago. Yeah. And I got into a pop group, and then that was my first experience in the studio. And I was like, I've made it. This is it. Yeah. Like, even though it's not, you still haven't even got a deal, you haven't got a contract, you haven't released anything yet. But like, I was like, that is me. This is it. And that's kind of what I do every day now. Like, just go to the studio, write songs, which is like, was always the dream.
So when you moved down to London, how old were you when that was?
I moved down to London about 19.
And so were you already looking like people were sniffing around you at that point?
Yeah, I had got a management.
Yes.
But no, I'd met a management that put me in this pop group, and then they called me one day after we did like 2 demos and said, "Oh, hey, we don't think the pop group was going to work, but we think you could be a better solo artist." And obviously I was like, okay, well, I was only doing the pop group to get a solo group. Come on, I was going to try and be the Robbie. And so then they kind of were like, just kind of in the background, and they kind of disappeared a bit. And I was like, right, I need to just get myself to London. And the only way my mum would ever let me just move to London is if I went to a school to study. And because at the same time, I still really wanted to be an actor. And I really loved musicals. So I was auditioning for lots of musicals, and I was always getting down to the last, like, 3 or few for the leads, and then I wouldn't get through. And this one casting director said, "Oh, we keep seeing you," and I was like, "Yeah, I've auditioned for this and that," and they were like, "Oh yeah, we really like you, but your voice is great, but you need training, because musical theatre is really difficult, and your voice is great, but like, you need to be able to sustain 6 shows a week," and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. My best mate was a stage school in London. She just said, "Look, you'll get a scholarship, you'll get paid practically to come to the school, you'll get all the lessons." So I was like, oh, I'll just go, move to London, and I got in. And
what was this school?
I almost don't want to mention the school because it didn't. So okay. I have made some really great friends, and there were some really great teachers, but like, there was a lot that I didn't really like about it. But it was great. It was great. It was Italia Conti.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's quite intense with the competition and stuff like that.
Yeah. You come into the school and they've got juniors that they're favourites, and it's like you have to battle against that, and it's like. You know, there's people that couldn't sing, would get the roles over you because they were the favourites, and you'd be like, hang on. I was the kind of kid that would be like, "Excuse me, why did I not get the solo?" Yes. like, when I can sing circles around that guy. Yeah. But anyway, and I made loads of really great friends, and some of the teaching was great. So I was there for a year, and you're not allowed to audition outside for the first year, which I think is mental. Wow. When you're young, that's when you're hungry, and you still got the love. And sometimes schools can dig that out of you, but it didn't with me, because I was just like, I'm not going to listen to you. And I was secretly auditioning for things, so I would occasionally do things. And then my second year, I started just being like, I'm fully getting out of this school as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And I was auditioning for pop groups and stuff, and then I just contacted this management again and said, look, I'm in London now. Do you still want to work with me? And kind of lied and said loads of other managements want to work with me.
Sometimes got to big yourself up.
Yeah, and only one auditioned for me and just liked me. Wasn't really.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, yeah, we definitely want to do this. So I did a couple of demos while I'd take a few days off here and there and do a couple of demos. And it was a completely different time back then to get a record deal.
Yeah.
So then I luckily, at the end of my second year, had got an acting agent, a management contract, and a modelling agent. So I was just like, I'm leaving. And I had the headmistress be an absolute whatever. Are you allowed to swear?
An absolute cow.
Yeah, absolute cow being like, oh, I've heard you're leaving. What are you going to do? Really what are you going to do? And I loved that. I was like, well, I've got a management contract, I've got an agent, and I've got a military. I don't really need you anymore.
Yeah.
And then, so I left, and within 6 months, I was signed to Polydor.
Wow.
After doing a couple of demos.
Did you send her a postcard?
Yeah. No, I did worse than that. I did a 60-second interview in the Metro and really slagged them off, which was really sad because a lot of the teachers thought I was slagging them off.
Oh, no.
But it was no, there was some teachers that were horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible devils.
Oh, no.
And they're the ones you remember. And
Yes.
they're the ones you're talking about. And if you're in an interview, you say that, and then the other teachers are just going to get that stick. So
Yeah,
and
of
I had some of the messaging.
But when you're young, that stuff scars you.
Yeah.
I went to a theatre school for half a term, and honestly, it was so poorly run, and it was a bit racist.
Right.
I mean, I got told to. My one audition they got me was for EastEnders for an Indian family, and I'm not Indian, but they said you look enough like that, you'll do.
Oh yeah.
And I was like,
yeah,
that's a bit racist.
Yeah.
So,
I used to audition for Bombay Dreams. It's like I'm not even they just wouldn't be allowed anymore.
I mean, we're brown.
Yeah, it's like straighten your hair.
Yeah,
but then but it was a completely different time back then. To get a deal, all I had to do was a couple of demos and a quick what do you call it, like a showcase.
Yes,
just in a studio. A&R's just sitting on foldable chairs, 4 of them, 5 of them, and Polydor and Ireland and Warner, and they all came down, and then I got the call. Polydor wanted to sign me, and I was like, oh my God, how have I done this? Who am I? And then that was the start of everything.
So what did you sign to Polydor for? Was it a single deal? Was it album deal? Album deal.
Yeah, and then Interscope, Jimmy Iovine got involved, and he was going to be the American side, and so it was an album deal, yeah.
And how old were you then?
At 21.
About 21.
I forget because I was even back then I was told to pretend that I was 18.
Oh, okay, so then you're just like.
So now I don't even remember if I was 23 or 21 or 12. Which is mental because it's I was 21 and I was already too old.
I mean, this industry.
I'm 38 now, and I'm
Make it make sense.
What? How? And I'm still thinking, no, I'm not too old.
No, I know.
But 21, I was too old. It's actually insane.
I know, it's quite scary, that stuff, because there's kind of element, I think, of it is the control as well, because they can mould you into what they need you to be. At that age group. Yes, exactly.
I would have signed anything.
Yes,
because you just want to be signed. I just want to be. I don't give a cow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have understood the percentages either.
Yeah.
And anything like that.
Yeah.
I didn't care what I signed. I would have signed my life away.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to sing and I wanted to be on stage. I wanted to do music videos. I wasn't really bothered about the money.
Yeah.
I just wanted to do what I was doing.
Yeah.
And different times.
So did you end up releasing from this project?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
I released a couple of singles. I released the album. And I think my album was top 20. And
come on.
At that
what was
time,
the album called?
It was called My World.
My World, Bryn Christopher. You need to dig deep. Go and see it now.
It was, at the time, a fail.
Really?
Yeah, like
for top 20?
Top 20 was a fail album. And like, I look back going, I had a bloody top 20 album.
That's crazy for your first album.
I'm really happy with, I should have been really happy, but that was like, no, this isn't good. I was in the same world as like at the time, Amy Winehouse, Duffy, Adele, and they all were going huge and mine wasn't doing what theirs was doing. Yeah. So I was like, it was difficult.
I hate that though, because I feel like this is what's really lacking from music industry now is the development. And the time and the patience.
I didn't have time to develop.
I mean, that's incredible for a first output.
6 months and I was just out.
It's insane because that could have grown on to be something massive.
Yep.
I don't understand what's the point in the investment to then drop it unless it doesn't do this. Because there are artists that take time, that take growth.
3 albums sometimes to break.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, we all know that in inside information that, Dua Lipa, she'd released some records, but it wasn't looking like it was going to go great. And then suddenly New Rules was what changed it around, and then suddenly she's one of the biggest artists in the world. So how many of the artists that they didn't develop?
I mean, like Ray, for instance.
I mean,
just like
insane,
like sitting on that and then being like, oh, it's not really working.
Yes, and she had 20 million monthly listeners at the time when that happened.
No,
yeah, I remember having a look at it because I was also like, I have no hope.
No,
but then it was meant to be because I mean that's one thing you can kind of anchor down to, is that meant to be because she's started her independent path.
Yeah.
And that's incredible. And then for you, what you've gone on to do.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason. I look back and go, I'm really lucky to have released an album.
Yes.
Like, because so many artists like Ray weren't given the opportunity to actually release an album. They were having top 10. I'm sure she was having top 10 singles.
Yes,
and they still were like, not sure whether you're an album person. So it's like, whereas back then I was like releasing the album straight away. It was just the single, soft release single, second main single, and then the album was released. And it was like, and then we did another single that was not on the album. And then I got moved with the A&R to Geffen because he was kind of being like moved over there, and then they weren't being given the money. So then I got dropped.
Wow.
And then weirdly, my management at the time were like, you probably won't get signed to Polydor again or Universal because you owe them so much money.
Right.
And then I started a band called Icy Monsters and got signed to Polydor and Interscope again. So I was like, okay, like that can happen.
Yeah.
So then that kind of leads me into like the world of dance music.
Right. So Icy Monsters, what kind of music was
it? Was
that?
like dance kind of.
Right.
I don't know how to explain it, but like it was quite hardcore. Some of it was. Skrillex was the first person to jump on it.
Wow.
So he signed us before I signed to Polydor and Interscope.
And so this was Ausler.
Yeah, Ausler.
Right.
We signed to Ausler for a single, an EP.
Yes.
And Skrillex and Nero remixed the first single.
Amazing.
And then after that EP, we moved to Polydor and Interscope. And we did a couple of singles, and then that just kind of ran its course. When you must know it. Like we had this amazing song that I was like, this is so good, and it was called Circles. I wrote it with the bandmate and Zane Lowe.
Wow.
Randomly. He was on my management, and he was a massive fan, and he wrote this song together, and then. Radio just were like, oh, we've got Sigma, because it was a drum and bass song. They were like, we've got Sigma, so I can't really play too. And it's like, what? Why?
Oh
no.
And
so that was just like, and we thought, this surely, if this isn't the one, then I don't know what we can do. And at the time, I was also like getting a bit frustrated. I wanted to be writing with other producers and writers, and I kind of was like in this band only, and I kind of wanted to do a little bit more artist for other people, a bit more pop, and that kind of came to an end. And luckily, weirdly, like because we were coming out of the deal, we were coming out of our deal, and when you're coming out of the deal, you're not really meant to do sessions or something,
right?
So I said to my manager, please put me in with someone, like, I don't care who it is, just get me a session.
Yeah.
Because I'm just sitting at home writing over backing tracks, like, and I'm getting a bit, like, frustrated. I need to write with someone.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, he literally just he was in Talyard and went downstairs, I believe, and, like, was like to this management, have you got anyone Bryn can go in with they said, oh, we've got this guy, Bruce, who is Sigala.
Yes.
And he was just a producer. He was at the time also just an engineer, more of an engineer than anything. I'm sure he knows. People know. I don't know. But he was a producer, and I got a day with him, and we wrote this like big ballad like on the piano.
Amazing.
And then I had another day with him, and then I think on the third day or the second day, we wrote Sweet Lovin'. And
what a record!
And I think by this point also out of the deal, and this was it came at the absolute perfect time. I was starting to run out of money.
Yes.
Like my publishing was running out of money. I had like my last chunk of money, and I was preparing to move to LA.
Wow.
Like I was going to go, and I'd just been into 2 record deals. I was starting to get a bit of doubt. I've never had doubt.
Right.
But I was starting to be like, maybe I can't write hits, or maybe my voice is too harsh because my voice is quite. I was like, maybe radio it's just too annoying or harsh. And then Sweet Lovin' came, and that really like helped, like both financially and like for my brain to be like, oh, actually I can write a hit and I can sing a hit. Yeah. And radio doesn't dislike my voice.
No, that was a huge smash.
Yeah, it really like came at the perfect time.
At the right time. In fact, let's take a quick listen to that right now. Sweet Lovin' for Sigala with Bryn Christopher. I mean, what I absolutely love about that is sometimes you just need that thing from the universe to be like, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
I mean, just before More Than Friends came out, I sung I Got You, I Want to Feel, and Run In and all this kind of stuff. And I just got so angry with dance music and the dance music industry side of things. I actually like did a whole like rock indie thing, changed my name. I'd done the photo shoot for it and everything. And then More Than Friends came about, and Anton, the A&R, just was like, you know, we don't want Davila, which is part of my surname. No one knows who that is. We want Kelli-Leigh, because Kelli-Leigh sang those records. So it was just really fascinating at the time when I was about to just go shift. Yeah. This thing happened and came in and went, no, More Than Friends with Kelli-Leigh.
What you should be doing now,
and then that was a big record. So I mean, so when that went boom, 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 was there any thought to like sign you again? Did anyone want to?
I mean, I signed my publishing, and I was kind of like not really knowing what I wanted to do as an artist, to be honest. And I kind of wanted to focus a little bit. I had just come out of management as well.
Right.
So I was like, because I just signed my publishing, I didn't want to then get a management to then do all the work. So I was like, okay, you've just signed me. I want the publishers to actually do their job. Yeah. So for about a year and a half, I was, maybe even 2 years or 3, I was unmanaged, and I was just like, Sony were doing all my diaries, and they were like really hands-on and like really involved, and a really great team. And so I wasn't really thinking about it. And then I was just getting features, and it was almost also quite like a relief to like be just a feature. Yes. You haven't got the all the stress,
the pressure of
having to do well, and like it's just nice to just have songs out. And like when you're signed, it's like, oh, once every 4 months you can release a song. Yes. And it's like, oh, is this the right song? And like, you've got to please, blah, blah, blah. And whereas features, it's just like, we've just written a song. This DJ wants it. Potentially either doesn't maybe changes the track, maybe doesn't change the track, and you're just featured on it, and it's like, oh, like that's cool, that's just out there, and it's less work. Yes. You literally just sing it, and then they just go and promote it. They go and DJ it everywhere. It's like quite a nice little thing to be part of.
And then were you PAing those records?
Sigala, yes, I did do quite a lot of his shows. Because he wanted like all the, like it was a lot of fun. Like Eyre would be on there. A girl called Amani. Do you remember her?
Yes, Amani. Yeah.
It was really fun to be in amongst those voices.
I think you were doing a Sigala show the same day Blonde were doing a show, and then you came and jumped on our Blonde show doing Heartbreaker.
Yes.
I can't remember, where was that? There was like
Heartbreaker. Or Me, Myself and I.
I think you jumped on Heartbreaker.
Is it Was it Pride or anything?
No, it wasn't. It was, I can't remember what it was.
Oh, yeah. I think it was a big stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Hertfordshire.
Oh, my God. Yeah,
that was so fun. Yeah.
That
was amazing.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Yeah. It was, but that was, again, like what I loved. Singing live is like such a, but it's less fun when it's like you're only singing one song.
Yeah.
And like you're traveling potentially like to a different country and you're only on for 2.5 minutes. That is a bit annoying.
Leave the people wanting more.
Yeah.
So I mean, because you ended up coming with the hits, like, and then you worked with Sigala a few times. So like, Came Here for Love as well. Like, how are you feeling in that moment? Because it felt like you were really the sound of radio. Like, you could tell it was a Bryn record.
I kind of. You always want more.
Yes.
And it's like when I had Sweet Lovin', I was like paranoid. I don't want to be a one-hit person, and so I was like, I need another one, so it's not just one. And then I got Came Here for Love, and like you just want more, and like but like I wouldn't say to 2 in my head. I was like, okay, I'm good. It might be 5 years, 6 years, 10 years till I have another one, but I know I can do it.
Yes.
And the industry's so up and down. But like it was such a good moment because he's brilliant and he always has great vocalists on. So because originally I wanted to sing Came Here for Love. And then like they were like, oh, we think maybe a girl might be better because of the theme of the song. And I was like, oh, like who are they going to get to sing it? And then when they said it was going to be Ella, I was like, okay, like she can smash this so well. And she obviously did.
Yeah, and your voices are quite complimentary.
Yeah. She's got the soul and she's like,
the edge as well.
Got she's got that tone that's like cuts through.
Yes.
Yeah. Excited.
So Bryn, the artist project though, where are we at now?
Well, I'm just starting to release my own dance kind of music and it's like just happy, like, well, I don't know. But yeah, the first few singles are like just in your face dance records. Yeah. High energy.
Who are you working with production wise for that?
The first single was with Laconic and Jodie Harsh.
Okay.
We wrote this song. It was actually originally written for Jodie Harsh's project. And then that just kind of fell through and I was always like, oh, I love this song. I love this song. I love this song. And then when we were talking about releasing, it was just one of the top ones. Yeah. Franklin has potentially done the second single.
Nice.
An amazing guy called Jimmy James has done one. And there's loads of them.
I mean, you must have a Dropbox of hits sitting there.
I've got so many songs, it's annoying. It's like I always think with songs, like can you like say for instance, I'm not going to mention names, but like a really big top liner. Okay, I'm actually going to name names. Can you like Caroline Aileen who wrote New Rules?
Yes.
You can like think maybe, you never know, New Rules in her Dropbox.
I mean,
could be like not the best song.
Yeah.
Like that could be like 50th, like down like here.
Yeah.
That she's got that many better songs.
Yeah.
I mean, New Rules is incredible,
I love that
and
record.
I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
But you never know where that falls in the like the greatness of the song, and she's probably got 200. Well, I know her. She used to do so many sessions that she like. If you do 5 sessions a week, how much is that? It's like. Is that like 250?
Yeah.
Is that 250 songs a year?
Yes, exactly.
So in 3 years' time, that's 750 songs.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe 3 of them are hits, or maybe none.
Yes,
like
and it also comes down to if the A&R likes it or who's decided that at that time. Someone might say they don't love it, and it is a hit. Yeah. Like we've all heard about records that are passed on, and then someone else takes it, and it.
Yep.
You know.
Well, it was originally written for Little Mix.
Really?
Yeah, supposedly. I don't know whether anyone's meant to know that, but like I'm sure that's like common knowledge. But
I mean, I love it.
It was originally written for Little Mix, and they passed, and. Because they were like a bit like it hasn't got a chorus.
Yeah, because
it hasn't really got a chorus.
It doesn't have it. Yeah, exactly.
And like that, like
I know.
Maybe that's
I heard some. I know some producers that passed on working on it as well.
Oh, really?
Because they were like, I'm not sure where this song's supposed to go.
Yeah.
So, but then maybe that's just what's meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be a single.
It wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be a single.
But then.
I heard
piece.
again. I don't know whether I heard. This is a rumor that somebody at Spotify said, "Hey guys," to the label of Dua Lipa's label. "Hey guys, just to let you know, this song has got the least skip rate we've ever had on the platform.
Wow.
Thought we'd let you know." And they were like, maybe we should do a video.
Yes. Do you know, and that video is amazing. Because I remember the album came out, I listened to it, and I think I listened to that about 4 times in a row when I heard
New
it.
Rules,
like,
really? Okay, yeah. And you were like, there's something about
something.
that. Something about Caroline Alien's melodies. Like, I used to work with her, and whenever we'd write, I'd always be like, "Oh no, surely the chorus has to go up here."
Yeah.
She'd be like, "No, it doesn't. It can just go down. Like, don't start now. Don't start now."
now it's just like,
like I would be like, "Surely it has to be like, don't start now."
I know. But I find that sometimes as a singers.
Yeah, you want to sing up. You want to show
when you're listening
off.
to Whitney and you've got Mariah and, Tina and Celine and Aretha and, and you're listening to the singers going up, and then obviously Beyonce, and so you're just kind of like...
you want to go up there.
You want to go up there. You want to go to the gods.
Pre here, chorus up here.
I know. So I'm with you on that. But I have had some times to try and, like, as a writer, go, right, where does it need to be down here? Does it need to be?
It depends on who. And she'd sometimes be sitting there and I'd be like, is she just looking at me thinking I'm mental? Like, why do you have to go all the way up there? But she does that so well. Yeah. Like what she does. And like... Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, I think sometimes you need to write with someone who is not a singer. To pull you away from the singing.
To be like, you don't have to do that.
Yes, exactly, and just find the little melody.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk for ages, but we're running out of time for podcast. I feel like we're going to need to do podcast 2.
Part 2.
Because I feel like we've...
In a couple of years, once we've written.
I know. We need to do us,
need to do
our little duet as well, because that needs to happen. Watch this space. But yeah, we've only scratched the surface on the incredibleness of your journey, but what would you like to tell people to look out for?
I've got some really good acoustic songs that I've recorded. I actually recorded them ago, but had to like wait for the right time to release them. But I've done like a little acoustic of Came Here for Love.
Oh, beautiful.
And so my little version of that, and just some little acoustic, just stripped back piano, a bit of cello, a couple of backing singers that I'm really excited to release these.
That. Your voice on that would just be beautiful.
Just love singing like with, and also I've got my song High Out, and by the time this is out, maybe there'll be another single.
Amazing.
So
where do the people find you? What's your @s and things?
At Bryn Christopher.
Amazing. And all your favourite DSP stores?
Instagram, TikTok.
Yes.
Whatever's new. Whatever the other ones are.
You are truly inspiring as a vocalist and songwriter.
So are you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for what you've done for dance music. You've really brought the soul. And for me, it's been a pleasure to listen to your songs that you've written, because sometimes it can be a little bit monotone.
Yes.
In the old dance world. Yeah. So for you to bring in that soul and that magic and the musicality and see what those records have done, it's special. So I'm excited to hear your music.
Yep. We need more
journey.
Like vocal.
We need some more vocals.
Dance records.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's get in the studio.
Yes, we will do.
And in the meantime, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Bryn.
Thank you.